Hi guys, this is Xeno here, and since you started asking for this video a long time ago, well, here I am for you guys, and in this video I'm gonna cover what I've done to improve my aim in Valorant. And let's just start by saying that the first step I took in this long journey was understanding which part of my aim lacked training the most. Quick disclaimer before the video continue. Now, this video is about how I trained my aim, which means my method might not be effective for everyone, but regardless, I suggest you to stick around until the end of the video, since I said something really important that you should hear as well. Let's start by dividing aim into three macro categories: flicking, tracking, and crosshair placement. Having a good crosshair placement in a game like Valorant is extremely important. If you think about it, having your crosshair already positioned on your enemy's head will give you an insane advantage, since you will have to do little to no adjustment before shooting. You don't believe me? Take a look at this clip.
Vibes of Fnatic. Oh, hold that thought for the time being. Kayak. What? What? No! No way! Is this Give it to him! Give it to him! Give it to him!
This clip shows what peak crosshair placement looks like when it's done by a pro. So we can safely say that crosshair placement does most of the work when it comes to killing enemies in Valorant. The rest is split between reflexes and macro adjustment, so yeah, it's safe to say that it's an important skill to develop. And now that we know why crosshair placement is so important, we need to find a way to train it. And luckily for us, there's a method to do so, which implies imagining an enemy swinging from an angle you are holding. Now, the farther you are from that angle, the smaller the image has to be. By doing so, you will always be aware of where to aim to kill your opponent in the least amount of time. I know that this method might seem a little bit schizophrenic, but I swear, this is the one that got me improved the fastest. Here's an in-game example of how it should look like when done it correctly. I remember that back in the days when I was practicing it, it took me a while before getting used to it, so I'd recommend you to do some deathmatch before getting into ranked, and remember, it's totally worth it regardless of the amount of time that you will have to put into training, because crosshair placement is one, if not the most important skill to master when it comes to shooting in Valorant. Don't be afraid of doing bad scores in deathmatch or just being bad at the start, because over time you will see many improvements. Another thing that can help you improve your crosshair placement are in-game lines. Many maps are filled with boxes, walls, and many other objects that line up with common headshot angles. By paying attention to those visual markers, you can better understand where the head level should be. For example, on Bind there's the container ledge that lines up with elbow, making it almost impossible to miss a shot. But that's not the only one. We have similar reference points on Ascent, Lotus, Icebox, and many more. And now that the important parts have been covered, we can talk about... Okay, I lied, I didn't focus only on flicking, but I also trained micro flicking and micro adjustment so that it could maximize my aim training experience, and I had a different plan for each skill. So, I started working on my flicking skill by playing a specific aim lab task that consisted of two targets placed far from each other. The main purpose of this task is to hit those targets by flicking at them. I know it might seem easy, but don't be fooled, as this task is actually pretty stressful, since it lasts 5 minutes and requires a constant usage of your burst, as you're flicking from target to target the entire time. Personally, I wouldn't recommend doing this task more than twice in a row, as it can lead to burst pain. Honestly, my advice for it is not to rush your shots. Start slowly, and when you feel confident enough, just speed up a little bit without compromising your accuracy. Remember that, for building something solid, you have to start from the bottom of it. You cannot expect to be good enough to start at the highest level in something that you've never done, so there is no shame at all in starting slowly and then increasing your speed. While there are many techniques you can use, I'll just tell you the one that I think is the best, which is the tension release, in which you need to tense up at the start of the flick so that you can reach the target as fast as possible and then loosen up to release the tension. This technique shines among the other ones because you get the speed of a tense flick combined with the smoothness of a loose one, and it also helps you feel more rested so that you can keep tracking and flicking without getting tired. And if you want an in-depth explanation of the many flicking techniques you can use, I suggest you check out Voltaic's video, since he's the GOAT when it comes to aiming. And now that this part is done, we can move on to the next topic. To get better at this, I played a lot of aim lab maps, but the most important is this one, which is the grid shot 3x3. Who is familiar with aim labs knows exactly what a grid shot session looks like.
Match found.
That is my personal best.
Impressive, right? Believe it or not, he wasn't born like this. He trained a lot. And yeah, it started slowly as well. So, my recommendation is to start slowly and focus on accuracy, since this exercise is more oriented to develop muscle memory. Going too fast will not allow you to build that muscle memory needed to make those micro flicks. Once you feel comfortable enough, you can decide whether or not to increase your speed. But to be honest, I'd prioritize other skill over this one, since Valorant is mostly a crosshair placement game. Most of the time you'll be making micro adjustment rather than micro flicks. And this leads us to the next topic, which is... Personally, I think this skill is just as useful as crosshair placement, since you'll never have your crosshair in the perfect spot all the time. That means you'll always need to make some micro adjustment to correct this mistake, and that's the reason why I started training it by spamming a particular aim lab task called Yuki Aim Must Click. Honestly, even though I don't play aim lab anymore, it's still my all-time favorite map. I totally recommend it, and trust me, it's super useful. You've probably heard me say this a bunch of times, but I can't stress enough how important it is to start slowly. So yeah, once again, focus on accuracy first. Once you're confident with both your accuracy and speed, you can gradually speed up. But remember, this skill is more about accuracy than raw speed. But now I'll tell you why it is so important to focus on accuracy rather than speed. You see, you can be as fast as you want, but if you're not hitting your shots, then it's completely useless, especially compared to someone who takes their time but is able to land their shots. Remember this, slow is smooth and smooth is fast, so there's no need to worry about going slowly when you're starting out. With time, you'll get faster. And speaking of fast-paced thing, we're going to talk about... Okay, so for what concerns tracking, the best training experience I ever had was in Apex Legends instead of any aim trainer, and I will tell you why soon. But first, we have to consider that aim trainers require a constant usage of aim when compared to an in-game scenario, so technically aim trainers are more fit to train your aim, but there's a catch. This is incredibly subjective, but if you don't enjoy training your aim with aim trainers, just switch to something else, since it's basically useless doing so without feeling motivated, due to the fact that you will not see as much progress when compared to a scenario where you have fun. Maybe it's just me being weird, but I don't really like the way aim trainers suggest you to improve your tracking through their task. Honestly, I still think playing a fast-paced game where the target has its own movement is better than doing a task on aim lab. The reason why is simple. I believe training your aim against a player who move unpredictably is both more effective and more fun. Personally, I wouldn't repeat the same aim lab tracking task more than twice in a row. I just can't enjoy it. But hey, that's personal preference. If you're fine with aim trainer, I'd still recommend sticking with them. You see, that's the thing people usually skip when talking about aim training, but honestly, it's one of the most important, having fun. Don't forget, fun is a part of the process. If you're not enjoying it, even just a little, you're holding yourself back. Aim training works best when it feels like play, not punishment. That's the reason why I decided to train my tracking on Apex, because I wasn't having fun on aim lab. You need to enjoy it, at least a little, otherwise you'll improve hundreds of times slower than you should. Even if you're doing it to get a better aim, remember that we are talking about video games. They were created to be fun. So yeah, even if it's a training session, at least make sure you're having some fun. Okay, so do aim trainers work? Yes, but not in the way you might expect. At least not for me. From my point of view, aim lab made little to no difference. Maybe it's because I didn't have a super well structured playlist, or maybe because I just wasn't having much fun. Who knows? The only thing I know for sure is that ever since I started focusing my gameplay, I've noticed significant improvement. So yeah, that's my recommendation. If you want to use AimLab or Kovacs to train your aim, I mean it's fine, go for it. But personally, I think the best way to improve is by playing your game while focusing on improvement. With that being said, thank you guys for sticking around until the end of the video. And sorry if I misspoke or mispronounced anything, this is my first ever voiceover video, so I had a little bit of anxiety and a lot of insecurities. You can't imagine how many takes it took to record this one. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.